All right, another video series from Norwich 93 CMP. This is going to be on the M14 or the M1A. And the first video I'm going to do is the trigger housing. And very similar to the M1 Garand. Once you have it out, ride the hammer forward. And same thing with the hammer pin. Just going to go out from left to right. You only need this one tool. Hammer pin to the side. Now you're going to have a loose trigger guard. Get that out later. Don't worry about that right now, but we're going to take the tension off of the hammer and we're going to end up dropping the trigger first. So with my hands on the back, this is a little bit easier possibly than the M1 Garand, at least when you install, because it will be, the trigger guard will be down low. Obviously, if we're working with springs, wear safety goggles and point springs away, so if it was going to come out, it would go out that way. The trigger pin luckily came out by itself. I'm going to unhook the trigger from the back side of the housing itself, and let's see if we can get it to move. There we go. And releasing the pressure gently and slowly. So I got my trigger out, my hammer plunger, hammer spring, and spring housing. Take out the safety, pull the tip towards you. Should clear, the boss should clear out of the trigger housing on the left hand side. Pull it out from the top, pull the hammer out, and now we have the trigger guard. Trigger guard has to be turned in such a way to get it out. Let's see if I can get it to clear. And this one's a little different than the M1 Garand. There's more of a spring action to it. It's just a lot more force pulling it out because you got to get the boss out from this side here. And it's taken apart. Now, I don't recommend taking out the mag catch at all. There's a roll pin right here, and there's a spring assembly on the back side right there. I don't recommend taking out unless it's like really junky or funky rust wise in there, and if it's locking up on you or something, that'd be the only way to take that out. Now this would be normally the M block ejection clip. This comes out a lot easier because all this does now is just work the bottom of the safety. It doesn't have to eject the clip out. And basically that's the stripped housing, very similar to the Garand, but there's a couple of differences. One difference I did want to show you is that this is an M14 trigger, and even though two parts of it are the same as the M1 Garand, there's one part that's not, and that's the disconnector. So the disconnector, if you look at it, this side, there's a protrusion that comes out, and that's for the activation and the mechanism for automatic fire. This trigger will not fit inside an M1 Garand, where an M1 Garand can fit inside an M14. But I just want you to be conscious of that, okay? If you ever see that, that's what that is. All right, we're gonna put it back together. Reverse order. Actually, this is a little loose. I'm gonna put this in a little bit later. Get my boss over first. See how I did that? Put it inside first and turn it down. It's a pretty good spring action sometimes. All right, she's in. Now that I got that in, I'll do my sear spring. It just sits in there. It's not like the other M1 Garands where it's got to be snapped in and pushed in with a screwdriver. This just sits in there. You know, I can't find anything much more easier than that. Safety in, pushing down, that'll keep that into place. Checking my boss there. All right, she's in. Hammer, make sure that the guard is somewhat closed. You got the boss on there. If you put it in the wrong way, it's going to get locked up on you, and you don't want that. So make sure it's basically closed. And let's see, just got to go back a little. There we go. Come on. So I'm aligning all these holes for the trigger guard, and I'm having trouble with my hammer. There we go. Where is she? She's not lining up. There she goes. You know what? Ah, the hammer just went in. All right, now we got all daylight from right to left. Son of a gun. Is that right? All right, she went in. She's flush. Pull it down to the bottom. Put your housing together for the hammer spring and the hammer plunger. Push it down in there. Window towards the bottom or to the left of the gun. Same thing as with your M1 Garand. You're going to hook this part in to the back side of the trigger housing. Just gently bring it together. And I'm taking my left thumb and putting it over the housing right now. And I'm kind of applying pressure this way. So I keep the trigger there and I keep this here. Now I'm going to pull the whole assembly together, kind of guide it into my holes. You can see it right there. Let's see how close I get. That is actually not bad. And I might have to give it a love tap to put it in there. If you jiggle the trigger in the back of the disconnector and you change directions and a little bit left and right and a little bit front to back, sometimes you can get that holes to line up and it'll drop in. There it is right there. I just had it. I got to get my, oh no, I got it. Non-marring. All right, so hammer should be forward. Obviously the safety is off. It should not be able to engage, so you do a functions check. Let's bring it down. Does it catch into the trigger? And disconnector work. Pull back the safety. Trigger guard's in the way a little bit. It engages. I try to pull the trigger, it doesn't fire. Release the safety. I'm gonna ride the hammer forward and it fires. So we just did a functions check. All right, that's it. I'm gonna do some more videos on the M14 coming up shortly. So take care.